Do you ever find yourself, or perhaps someone you know, speaking endlessly about all the problems with a certain video game, what the developers are doing wrong, why they're destroying the game, and just listing all the issues and reasons why the game is absolutely terrible, an endless list of negativity, but then you realize that that person is still playing that game, and not only are they still playing that game, it's the only game they play. This is what I call the one game trap. People find themselves in these situations where all they do is complain about a game, and yet they still only play that one game, and they're not even willing to try other games. It's a really interesting phenomenon that I've come to realize exists in the gaming community, and I want to kind of just talk about it a little bit and see if you've ever fallen into the one game trap. I know I have many times, and I'm sure you guys have as well. If you have, let me know in the comments what game you've fallen into the one game trap with. So I'm going to outline what the one game trap is first of all. The one game trap, this is how it starts. It always starts with love of the game. It always starts with you play a game, it's really great fun, it's absolutely incredible, and you find that there's maybe a grinding element in there, maybe there's a sort of kind of XP rewarding going on, so you keep playing the game to get that XP, to keep leveling up your stuff within the game, whatever it might be, whatever that game, whatever the genre, maybe it's a creative game, so you want to get better at building or whatever it is in that game. There's an element that's rewarding and you love it, and it's kind of a grind and you want to keep playing it, you want to keep getting better. So it always starts from a place of obsession because you really enjoy the game. Then there might be a sort of ranked element involved, a way that distinguishes you from other players within the game, maybe a competitive sort of situation. And that love of the game, all you want to do is get better. You want to keep playing and you want to get better, be the best. You can become obsessed with this game and you want it to kind of, you just, all you can think about is getting better at that game. Now, the thing is, this is fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this whatsoever. I mean, I've done this many times with many games, many Halos, Call of Duties. I've done this so many times. And it's a brilliant thing. I think that's the most beautiful thing about esports is that it comes from a place of love and passion for the game and kind of wanting to be better. And it does create a lot of community as well around that kind of shared passion. So I think it's a really good reason why people start to just play one game, for example. But the problem is that eventually that can become quite toxic. Certain features about the game can start to change. Maybe more monetization is sneaking into the game. Maybe there's certain aspects to changes, to nerfs, to buffs, certain updates. There's new things added to the game that completely change the feel of the game. Sequels to a game that you hate, if you're talking about franchises, because the one game trap can also kind of just also mean like the one franchise trap as well, but one game trap as well, just generally because there are other games that don't have sequels. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is, when that game starts to change, the love starts to turn kind of toxic, and it becomes a sort of a weird thing where the game's no longer fulfilling the player's needs. They don't really enjoy it, but they've invested so much time to get to where they are. There's a mismatch between what the developers are doing, what the people love about the game, and it creates this very toxic to and fro between developer and player of the game, where it seems to end up in a really awful, inescapable trap, where the player wants to keep playing the game with the hope that game will return to be the glorious thing they once knew. And then the developer makes slight updates, maybe even some promises that we're going to get a bit of nostalgia, we're going back in time. Please come back, it's going to be fine. The game's going to be wonderful again. But then, of course, the update isn't. And then, or even sometimes it might be. A season update might be fantastic. And then the next one is terrible. And then the servers crash. And then it's just a constant mix of weird toxicity where there's no certainty and everyone starts to just feel awful about the situation. That is the one game trap. That's what I think it is. And if you've ever fallen into the one game trap, let me know in the comments what game that is for you. I know I've fallen into that many, many times with many franchises. There's also, though, a bit of a sneaky other way that people can fall into the one game trap. And it's something that is maybe a little uncomfortable for me to say as a YouTuber, but I think content creators play a very large part in the one game trap ecosystem. So if you main a game, let's say on stream, so if you're just playing, what I mean by that is you play one game on stream, you're an expert in that game, you're really good at that game, people watch you just to play that one game, right? You then start to make content on that game and that content starts to do well. That content that you're creating around that one game then can start to get ad revenue, that can start to support you financially. That can open up doors for you that couldn't have been opened up before and create opportunities for you. So it's not just about money, it's also about all the different opportunities that can arise because of being a successful content creator in a certain niche. Now, the thing is, of course, is that a lot of content creators love a game. They love it so much. That's why they started making content. And then, of course, the one game trap can start to happen. The changes can start to happen. And then they're really trapped. They're really trapped because if you're a content creator, you get very passionate about the problems with the game and the fact that it's no longer the thing it once was. And you're stuck. You're stuck in the trap because you can't make content on other things because people come to expect that you just make content on the one topic. So they're very trapped. And I think then you really start to see a real negative kind of discourse that can emerge from people who, especially content creators, who are stuck in that trap. And I think a lot of that is, of course, fear as well. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of shaking it up and trying other things, because inevitably there's going to be a bit of a downturn if you start to shake up what you sort of do. Now, I had this situation with many games in the past where I've been playing one game for a very long period of time, and then you switch and people don't know what to expect. So suddenly you're playing other games, and then, of course, people who came to watch you for that one thing are going to start to maybe watch you a little bit less. But that's, to my mind, a worthy cost to getting to a place that's much more happy and fulfilling. Now that on my channel, I mainly play a huge variety of games, whatever I want to do. It could be FPS, it could not be. It could be, I don't know, attaching a goat to a wind turbine, which is, that's what it is in Just Cause 3. We've seen that. We have seen that a few times. And it's my bad. We have seen a few goats at the hands of Rico Rodriguez in unfortunate circumstances. They're all fine though. It's not a problem. But besides the point, what I would say is that now I kind of feel like I've freed myself from the one game trap. When I see it, I see people stuck in the trap, especially content creators or even just people in comments, gamers, the general gamer. I start to feel kind of almost bad for people. Because I think a big element to being stuck in the one game trap is you don't realize you're stuck in the one game trap. You're sitting there, you're complaining about something, loads and loads and loads. You're saying, I wish it wasn't like this. And you sort of think, well, now I'm looking at it from the outside, I just sort of think to myself, why don't you just not play it? Why do you constantly wish that it was something it wasn't? The best thing you can ever do in a situation like this, be it with a video game, be it with certain people in your life, is sometimes when people aren't going to change and things aren't going to get better, the most healthy thing you can do is to move on. There's no point just living in the past. There's no point clinging on to something, hoping something becomes something, especially not when there's billions of dollars involved in a video game franchise, for example. It's time to just move on and grow up, because the biggest antidote to the one game trap is just to sit there and realize that ultimately life is way too short. It is so short, and there's things that really matter in life, and our time is so finite, so powerfully limited, and that we'll only be able to do a certain amount of things with our time on this earth. And I think a much healthier thing to do is to stop complaining about something like a video game when there's so many brilliant other video games out there to play, and to just move on and to do something you enjoy, that makes you happy, that makes you fulfilled. If you're a content creator and you're out there making videos about things you hate, what are you doing? And if it is supporting your life and it's helping you pay bills, that's not an excuse. There's people that's not an excuse for just driving yourself and making yourself miserable. My message to any content creator is, like, if you got into doing something like this that you're passionate about, something you really enjoy, that's a bit of an unusual career, it's a bit different. Those of us who are in content creation will know it's a very strange thing to do sometimes. It's a brilliant thing to do. It's awesome. But to most people, when you explain what you do, they don't really understand. But it's a creative passion. It's something you love to do. And I think that if you're stuck in the one game trap, if you're stuck in that place where all you're doing is just talking negatively about games and game franchises, not that those games, here's the thing, it's not that there aren't problems with those games. It's when the talk starts to become all about changing the game back to things they really like and all the rest of it. That's the problem. It's not that there aren't bad games, and those games should also be called out for making bad decisions. That's not what I'm saying. It's that when you call the thing out for the bad decisions, and then all you do is play that game and make content on that game, it's like, why not call them out and then really be like, okay, I'm moving on now, and have some like kind of, a line in the sand and be like, okay, I'm not going to keep doing this. It's time for me to move on and develop and grow and do something else. But if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, why would you make that true of your content creation career? You should have a bit of fun with it at the end of the day. There's so many content creators out there who lead with having a good time, expressing themselves, having a really awesome time making their content, whatever that might mean for them, whatever games, whatever it is they're doing, even outside beyond gaming. I hear the same thing, by the way, happen to a lot of people, even just beyond gaming when it comes to content creation. People get stuck in a bit of a rut and they don't do enough different things and they feel quite controlled by what they do. But I don't know, let me know in the comments. I think that personally, from the people that I like to watch, I respect it when they just do what they love. I find myself really engaging more with the content when someone's just changing and adapting and developing and growing and trying new things. I really like seeing that from people. And I think it's something that I find really inspirational when someone's willing to just try different things and just see what sticks. I think that's ultimately what doing something creative is all about. So I just wanted to come on here, highlight this issue that exists in the video gaming space, because I think it genuinely is a massive problem. And I think that if you're just a casual player, for example, you might even not really understand what I'm saying. But you might have friends, for example, and you can recognize this, where that they love one game, for example, in particular. And whenever you talk to them, they're just complaining about that one game. Oh, you won't believe what they've done with this. They've added this, and it's just, you know what? It's not what it once was. And I don't know why they keep doing it. All they've got to do is to do this. And then, oh, by the way, one thing that happens always with the one game trap is that a list of demands. There's like a list of demands. This game will die unless A, B, C, D, E, F, G is all done. And if it's not done, then the people won't stand for it. You go back to that same channel or that same friend 6 months later, they're still playing the game, and they'll have a new set of demands. They'll have a new set of demands about the new things that have been added to the game, and it's almost endless. It never seems to end. There are some people who are stuck in a vortex. It's like a whirlpool. It's like a massive whirlpool, and they're on a little ship. But instead of going down into the whirlpool, they just go around the sort of mid-range of that whirlpool. They're right there in the middle of it, and they're just going round and round and round, swirling round the drain of negativity as they just wait for another update to then maybe take another meter down the whirlpool, and they keep spinning round and round and round and round and round. Oh, they got to change A, B, C, all these things. And you just feel like grabbing them by the shoulders, just give them a shake and say, wake up, it's okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It's fine. Just take it easy. There's another way. There is another way. But people, they get stuck. They get lost. I think that it probably happens as well. There's also like a one job trap where people get stuck in, if you live in a big city, like, let's say like, a city of a reasonable size. And this is not true everywhere. Things are limited wherever you live. I understand that. I'm from a rural part of the UK that's quite, it's not exactly immensely filled with opportunity where I'm from in the East Midlands. But like the thing is, the rest of London, other places, big cities, Manchester. I mean, you take your pick. There's loads. Again, same globally. Probably the same is true. Probably globally. Don't just get stuck in one thing, because there's always other options. There's always things you might do. They might even they won't be great. They're never going to be perfect, but they might be a little bit better. You can always shake up things and do things a bit differently to stop things being negative and toxic all the time. And it's so true in video gaming, and it's so true full stop. Right? I think so many times we need to just apply some basic principles to our life and some standards and realize the life's too short. Don't get stuck in the one game trap. All right, guys. Cheers.